So while I'm right here and I'm talking lately, I'm drinking yerba. Look at this yerba madre. Anyway, while we're sitting here and we're having this conversation, I want to talk upon some very controversial topics actually, and kind of get into the headspace of my idea on drug use, drugs. Um, I will say with complete transparency, the war on drugs was a terrible thing, and it was used to focus on the marginalized, lower income areas. And, I believe with my heart that, somebody who knows who was funneling drugs into certain areas. And I also have liberal friends who totally disagree with that sentiment, that, there was possibly some outside force putting drugs into lower income areas. But, all that aside, my stance on drugs is that it's a destabilizing agent that's put into communities and put into whatever, and it just makes the world a worse place. I think drugs make the world a worse place. And that's weird, right? Because, my whole thing, my whole shtick, I'm very influenced by, Hunter S. Thompson, and, how he lived his life was how he lived his life. But the issue with drugs is, it's just I see too many people ruined by them. It's the same with alcohol. I have friends who are going sober that I would never have expected to go sober, and I am for that. 100%. It excites me to see these people going sober. And, it's just all it makes me really happy to see somebody going sober that deserves to go sober. You know what I mean? And, me personally, as much as I like the feeling of being drunk or high, it's I'm such a casual user. I'm not an addict, but whatever. But I'm willing to compromise and sacrifice drugs just to make the world a better place. I won't drink. I won't do drugs. I will stay sober. Not because that's what I want, but because I want to send the message. When it comes to the art I make, I always tell people I would never advocate for drugs on this front. As a person, I would never advocate for drug use. I would never tell somebody to go out and do drugs. You know what I mean? The only people I talk about with that sort of conversation are close friends who already know, but people know me for my sobriety. And it's just all it's not necessarily whatever. I mean, alcohol brings it out in me. Alcohol brings the worst out in me. And I've been in situations where you know what I mean? It's pretty dark. But anyway, it's just all I guess the big one is, of course, I wouldn't drink. Because drinking just makes you a terrible person. And I had to drink, at certain points in my life. If you have to drink, you know what I mean? That's not a good thing. My anxiety has gotten so bad that I've had to drink. And I don't know. It's not a good feeling. It's really not a good feeling. It's a very terrible feeling, actually. It makes me feel awful, horrible. But yeah, no, I want to be that way. Sorry, I'm getting a little off my rail. Advocating on behalf of drug use and advocating on behalf of that sort of thing and celebrating it and making it this thing. Personally, I just think it's counterproductive, and I don't want people to look at me and pick up self-destructive habits. I'm not a perfect person by any means, and I know that this whole posturing and this theatrics and this pageantry, oh my god, I'm such a good person. That's not how it is. I want people to see what I'm doing, and I want them to internalize a system that works for themselves. And a lot of people don't need to be told to just do whatever you want and throw it all to the wind. And I agree with like a lot of like discipline-minded people. I'll say that. Discipline-minded people that taking care of yourself and taking care of the people around you and like, you know, whatever. It's just all like, I believe in like sobriety and stuff and all of that good stuff, because it's just like, I want to see people better. You know, I want to see people like doing good for themselves. I want to see people loving their life. I want to see people like being able to celebrate their life. I don't want to see people hurt. I don't want to see people self-destructing. You know, I don't want to see people going into vice. I don't like vice. I'm a very like overstimulated person. You know what I mean? Like I do like my caffeine a little bit. You know what I mean? But like I don't like too much. If I do too much, that's just like crazy. When I drink too much, I get tunnel vision and like everything goes dark, and it's just all like, it's that extension of the psychosis that I've experienced throughout my life. But drinking really brings it out, and it makes me paranoid, and it makes me scared, and it just like it reworks my brain. And like drugs in general, the paranoia is crazy. And like, yeah, I don't know, everything in moderation, everything that's too much, I don't like to lean into it. It feels gross. That's my personal take on it. It feels gross to lean into anything too much. If I do something every single day, I will, you know what I mean? There are exceptions, but like the main things, like if I'm like really into something and it's all like if I listen to music, I listen to a lot of music. I listen to hours and hours and hours of music every day. I mean, I am a music listener. I've always been that. I've listened to hundreds upon hundreds of albums. I can't listen to the same genre every day. It's that bad. It's like if I listen to the same thing, and I can't listen to dark stuff. I can't listen to edgy stuff. I've done that my whole life, and I'm to a point where it's like crazy. Like, you guys know I'm edgy, you know what I mean? I like my books. You guys know Bataille, and you know the kind of books he read, and you know the kind of like stuff he was into. But anyway, just, I don't know, that's my stance, how I see it. And then like also, I don't like to advocate on behalf of things like that. Like, we have to focus as much as we can, because if we lose focus, like if it comes to anxiety and we let that take over, our insecurity, or like however we feel, or if we feel too good, you know, I mean, like just altering the brain, I feel like it's like counterproductive, because like, I don't know, it sets up a bad like perspective to like base yourself off of, or yeah, it sets up a bad perspective to view the world. Like, I just feel like that voice in the back of my head gets louder and louder whenever I like smoke or drink, that's just telling me like everyone hates you and you're about to be ruined. And it's just all like that voice, it follows me. And like when I'm like sober minded and I'm focused, like the confidence is unreal. Like, I do so much stuff like every single day, and like stuff that people won't even notice. But like if people ever notice what I do, I feel like they'll be like super surprised. Like I try to focus on doing the most productive things, and like, you know what I mean? Like really changing stuff around me, and like really changing the world. I'm just waiting, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not necessarily waiting. I'm just trying to prove myself to myself. But like, I'm doing the kind of stuff that you like brag to your friends, like in a random situation. They're like, oh shit. You know what I mean? I love doing that stuff. I love just like having like insane lore. You can't really do that when you're on drugs, you know? You just all like lay in bed because you're anxious that the world's gonna fucking end or something. It's just all like, I'm too paranoid minded to advocate on behalf of drug use. So I advocate on behalf of sobriety and like clean living and like focusing and paying attention, you know what I mean? And I really like what you put in your body and the kind of clothes you wear. Like I wear all cotton and I wear like zero polyester. That's a big thing for me. I don't like polyester. I really don't like polyester. That's another weird one. I'm really against polyester. But no, it's just all like, at the end of the day, I want to say like community and love and like taking care of yourself. That's the most important thing you can do. And like also, you know, I don't know. So much little nuance, but sobriety is like super important to me. That's what I practice. People are like surprised by it. It's just like, oh damn, you must be a good influence. Like I'm not necessarily the best of influence that you should be hanging around. Like most of the time, I'll be real with you guys, I struggle with depression and insecurity and paying like way too much attention to things I shouldn't be paying attention to. That paranoia and like that guilt that I shouldn't hold, by the way. I feel guilty about a lot of stupid shit that I've done throughout my life, and you know sometimes it's not even my fault. And like even today is an example. I'm like caught up on this thing that happened a few months ago where like I heard a fire truck really close and I couldn't see him, so I like waited through two lights with like a huge line behind me, and like he was like right like there, you know what I mean? And I heard him right in my fucking ear, and I couldn't tell where he was coming from. So I held up two lights, and I didn't even see him. But like I knew he was like right nearby, so I didn't know if he was coming from behind or the side or whatever. And like I felt stupid because like I could have made the light, but like I heard him. He was way too close, and I was just like kind of anxious about trying to make it and then getting hit by a fire truck. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's on my head right now. It's something new every day. It's something new every single day. But it's at least it's not as bad as like when I'm on drugs. I did mushrooms right before I left Michigan. Like I left Michigan a while ago, moved somewhere, else. Anyway, I was like really confident in my situation, like, oh wow, I'm so in the right now. And like I ended up like standing downstairs in the open on mushrooms with like complete light everywhere, and like I'm just feeling so like confident. I just like spit in the face of this experience, right? It's just all like I'm so much better than the world, what it has to throw at me. And like what I ended up thinking about was like so stupid, and what I really got caught up on was myself in the eyes of the people in my life. And at the time, I'm not gonna say that those people were smart. You take with that what you will. These people are not smart, and how they perceive me is totally irrelevant. These were very conservative-minded individuals who affirmed their self off of a lifestyle that, rejected them. You guys, if I didn't see conservatives firsthand throw their lives away off of some vibe, some feeling, some grift, you know what I mean? If I seen conservatives living happy, fulfilled lives, I'd probably be a conservative. But they don't. They hate everything. They hate everyone. And like the atmosphere I grew up in, around the people I grew up around, I would never reject them. They were too good to me. You know what I mean? I didn't live in a predominantly white area. Like, it's crazy. Like, I'm not gonna throw away some like life for some tribalism. That's why I don't believe in race realism. I knew too many black people and like Hispanic people. Like, they're good people. They have good hearts. And as Joshua Graham says of Fallout New Vegas, don't go to war with good people. It's bad for the soul. And like that's like something that I hold to my heart. There are people out here who like are genuinely great people and like consistently. Why would we go to war with them? It's just all like peace and love. That's the end of every single thing that I will ever say. You know what I mean? It's just all like, as angry of a person I am, and I will own up to that. I'm a very angry person. I'm a very bitter person, very vindictive. It's just all like, I try to at least hold myself accountable because like I do believe in peace. I wouldn't say like, hey, you want to be in my life. I wouldn't say that to people. I don't say that anymore. I don't like wish to put people or insert people into my life. I am very cautious, and I tell people, you know what I mean? Like, I try to be as transparent as possible. That like, if you won't be able to like see me at my lowest. A lot of people won't, and I want to be transparent about that because like there is that side of me that is kind of dark, and it is kind of whatever, and I also have like a lot of like delusional tendencies, but I'm not gonna apply that to my politics. Like that life outside of me is totally different. I have very many sides. It's crazy. I don't know if people feel that way, but me personally, I have a very split like self. Like there's this side of me, this side of me, this side of me. I have a social side of me that like participates in art. There's this like introspective side of me that like participates in nothing. There is this a political side of me. I like my politics. I'll sprinkle them in, but like at the same time, it's just like my full ideas. They aren't like my core self. I don't know what my core self would be, but yeah, no, it's just all like I like to advocate on behalf of like clean living, treating yourself right. I don't like advocating on behalf of drinking or drugs. I used to be into them like casually and this like postmodern kind of way, like how drinking could be seen as a status thing. I always like to lean into like cultural stuff. Like if I drink coffee or like tea or whatever, it's all like there's this cultural analysis to it. Like I really like culture and stuff, and I like the ritual of culture. And like I've participated in drinking into the ritual of culture, especially when I used to play poker. You know what I mean? And like when I was like working in sales, I wore a lot of like sports clothes and like golf clothes. It's just all like, but it's just all like, how far can you take the facade before like, you know what I mean? It like rejects you because it's not a lifestyle that like you can really hold up or live up to, like respectfully. It's not necessarily the most like crazy productive thing to do. Like as much as I like enjoy the thought, but I don't know. I just got myself stuck. Yeah, no, it's just all like I went on a rant. Just treat yourself right. That's what you got to do. You don't have to play the social norms. You don't have to play whatever. There's abstractions in this that play back into the idea that you don't have to prove yourself in the eyes of others, and you don't have to whatever, and you have to treat yourself good, and don't fall for the lies. You know what I mean? Don't fall for the lies, everyone.